Go ahead.
I said you just think because it's a record button that it's automatically red.
I think so. I think that's like
it should be red.
Are you assuming it's color?
I am. Well, that's like a what do they call it? It's not the Mandela effect. I don't know what that's called. We're conditioned to think that like record is red.
It's called
It's
called big camera, just wanting to think everything's that way.
Oh, a big camera. That's very funny. Okay. All right, let's get started. All right, welcome to this week's episode. If you watched last week's episode with Georgia, I hope you did. Hope you checked it out. That is on the Grindr TV channel. Actually, I don't know what channel this will be on because we might use this one later on because I'm going on vacation at the end of the month. So we might use...
Where are you going?
like a filler.
I'm going to my spot. I'm going to Carlsbad.
But you can't take your podcast stuff with you, or we can't go on vacation with you?
That would be awesome. Now that I think about it, I'm just going to podcast by the ocean.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, that week, Angie could be our guest.
There you go.
That's brilliant. Okay. We'll put a pin in that. We'll save that for later. But anyway, welcome to the show. The Drop Frank and Brian. I'm Frank.
I'm Brian.
That's Brian. Today's guest, we have Jaime Silva. This is Jaime Silva. Like I said, if you watched the Georgia episode, you're probably like, hey, Frank's wearing the same thing. That's because we're filming on the same day. Georgia's sitting right over there. So
that's because we wear the same thing all the time.
Actually, you know what? As I was like picking out what I was going to wear today, I was like, man, I only rotate like 4 or 5 shirts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's. I was gonna say, I'm surprised you didn't bring 2 T-shirts. You also have a little bit something on there.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Yeah,
It's because we're on the casting couch right now.
I know. I don't know if you noticed that before, but you didn't want to say.
Oh no, I noticed.
You didn't want to say anything, did you?
No, but I really noticed it when Georgia put that post up, and I was like, that looks like a casting couch.
It does,
especially with the red in the back,
with the red curtain and everything.
Yeah,
it's definitely got a look. You may hear Georgia laughing sometimes in the background because everything's funny.
It happens.
You can just call her your producer.
She is. She's this episode. Towards the end of the last episode, Jaime got off of work and he got here, so he ended up being the PA, hitting record and unrecord. And in this episode,
which is not a red button.
Which is not a red button. And in this episode, Georgia is going to be the PA. So
Georgia is going to press the not red button.
The not red button. Georgia's got in front of the camera for our audio listeners.
Just make your own rules.
Anyway, so we're here. We're here with Jaime Silva. I've known Jaime a really long time. You guys, for our visual listeners, you guys have seen his truck before all over the place. So we'll throw up a photo of that. But for our audio listeners, Jaime has the green Tacoma.
It's green now.
It's green now. It's a green Tacoma now with graphics.
Yeah.
Anything?
Okay. So green, everyone says green. The color's supposed to be blue.
Oh, I'm really bad at discerning blues and greens.
It looks green. So the truck got painted, and it was blue, and it's a GM color. It's dark metallic teal, and they cut the truck to spray the graphics, and then when they re-cleared it, it turned this green color. So I have,
and so
it's green.
For our visual listeners, they saw the photo, but for our audio listeners, can you tell us exactly what it is?
It's a 2001 Toyota Tacoma. It's got a 2000 4Runner front clip. The color is GM. I'd say like 2010, 2012. It came on like the Tahoes and on the Avalanches, and it's supposed to be dark blue, teal, but I don't know whatever happened with the chemicals of the clear and the paint and the sanding. It turned this green color, which everyone's like, oh, what made you pick that color? And I'm just like, well, I didn't, but
it just sort of ended up that way.
But it's cool. Like, I like it. But yeah, that's its current form right now.
So that's your truck, and that's a truck that you've had you've had that truck for a really long time.
I bought that truck. That truck is a 2001. I bought it in 2005, end of 2005. From a used car lot. It had about like 30,000 miles on it. So it was 5-6 years old. It was a trade-in, but it was like a work truck. I had the crank windows and the AM FM radio. I don't even think I had a CD player. I had a bench seat in it. It was on like some what we call throwaway 18 chrome wheels that quickly got taken off the truck. But
Just some generic.
Yeah, like some rent a wheel, whatever.
Frank calls those his favorite wheels.
Okay, we'll get into that in a second. We'll get into the wheel conversation in a second, but I just want to tee up this whole thing about just getting into who Jaime is. So
Yes.
the truck that we're talking about, you've had for a really long time, and that's actually how I first met you. I first met Jaime. We were doing a photo shoot way back in like 2010, and I think it was 2010.
I think it was like 10 or 2009 or something.
9 or 10 is when we did this photo shoot, and we were trying to find some people to have as models, but we already had the models picked out, but we needed some trucks, and a couple guys I knew from Barstow. One guy had a pretty nice Tacoma. It was extra cab Tacoma, body dropped, and he's all, "Hey, I got this buddy with a standard cab Tacoma. Do you want him to come out?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And Jaime came out, and it's the first time I met him. And at the time, your truck was white with like what was on the roof?
It was
like
the roof. So the roof was two-tone. It was like a satin red. It had like scallops with like pinstriping through the scallops, and then the sides. I think at the time the sides were all white with pinstriping on like the hood and I think the tailgate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was kind of like a rat rod kind of theme.
Definitely had like a hot
kind
rod
of like
vibe
a
to it.
bomber, like 50s sled kind of had white walls on it. Some like bandana print, like the Mexican blanket trim on the inside. But yeah, it was.
Is that the scene that you were kind of into back then? Was like rat rods, greaser style stuff?
And to be honest with you, at that point, that was like maybe a few months after I got the truck back on the road. So the truck, when I first bagged it, it was probably on the road for like a year, and I rear-ended somebody. And the insurance played out to where the person in front of me was like in a Corolla, and they slammed on their brakes, and I slammed right into them. So they were like, "Oh, we're not fixing your truck."
Yeah,
So-
that's happened to me before.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know, I didn't have extra money to fix it on my own because it was the entire front end. Like it pushed the radiator into my motor.
Oh wow.
So I put it under tarps, and it was under tarps in my driveway for like 6 or 7 months.
Was it bagged at that point?
It was, yeah.
And
So then that's another thing is I was driving low and I hit the car under the bumper support.
Oh, and
so
it
their
just-
bumper reinforcement went straight into my grill, into my radiator. So like my bumper went under their car. So I had no reinforcement. So then that was another thing too. They're like, "Oh, your truck's modified. We're not fixing anything."
oh. So and at the time that your truck was also that was when Devious bagged it, right?
They did, yeah. So then they did the front end, the back end, the 4-link, all that. Yeah, it was my only vehicle. It was my daily. So then when I wrecked it, it just sat.
You crunching ice?
Those chips.
I know.
You're not
I was
sharing
like,
chips, bro.
No, I backed up and I was like, why am I doing this?
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on
I
blast.
was like, what? I got some static over here.
No, yeah. Like I was
got
like,
static.
oh, they can hear that. They looked at me. Hold on, ready?
There you go. There you go. So back to why it was that, like rat rod-ish is I had just started collecting parts to put the truck back together.
Oh, after getting wrecked.
After it was wrecked, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I got the grill, the fenders, and I pieced the front end back together, and I was like, the truck was originally white, and then I just primered the front end white, and I was like, screw it, I'll just primer the whole rest of the truck. So then this whole truck ended up in this like satin white primer, and I had stole the wheels off of it because it was just sitting under tarp. So then I was like, oh, I got these steelies. I had some rollers with like, white wall letters that I actually took a grinder, and I ground the side of the tire down.
So you turned it into a white wall?
Yeah, so every tire that has a white raised letter on it, behind that raised letter, there's like a 3-inch white pad. So
you just scuffed it out.
Yeah, I just scuffed through all the black
That's
and past the
awesome.
letters. So I was making my own white walls, and I would do it because I'd drive low and chew up the front tires in like a month, and then just go, the little used tire
You didn't
shop.
want to be buying like proper white walls
No,
every single time.
I was just gonna chew through them, the with all the camber wear. So then that's what the stage was of that truck. It was in a position where I was like, all right, I'm just getting it back on the road. and then that's when I met you.
Yeah, so that's when we did the photo shoot, and I'll send it over to Brian, and he'll interject it somehow into this. But I did like a small interview with you in that video. I made a video of the photo shoot that day, so we did our photos, and then I also shot like a video, and that was like when I was very like first like figuring out video stuff, and so I did this little thing, and I was interviewing Jaime, talking about his truck. And so that was the first time I met you. Did your truck have the brass knuckles?
I had the brass knuckles and the grill. Yeah.
Because one of my favorite, and then I'll also give this to Brian, and you could throw it up somewhere. One of my favorite photos that we have ever taken was the model that day was like wearing our clothes, and she was like wearing these really cool jeans, and like she was looking really cool. And then it's your big grill behind it with that brass knuckle in the middle, and it's like one of my favorite photos that we've ever taken.
The brass knuckles fit right in the oval pocket where like the Tacoma badge was. And another reason why I used that was I had the brass knuckles and I didn't have a Toyota badge because when I replaced the grill, it didn't come with the badge.
So you just show that
the badge alone was like $80. I was like, nah, that's beer money.
Yeah,
I'm not buying that.
And that was at a time when
that's so mini trucker, right?
No,
I was gonna say no. That's so Inland Empire.
It very much Riverside of me. Yes,
that's and that's the other thing is Jaime is a born and raised Riverside guy. And so but I was gonna say that whole brass knuckle thing was a total like that era too. Like it was actually starting to peter off that time.
It was like the big belt buckles, like
famous stars and
strap shirts, and
yep,
obnoxious sideways hats.
So that was the first time I met you, and then from there, your truck.
I also like how you both are wearing sunglasses.
I know. Jaime came through.
I learned this from Frank.
Yeah, Jaime came through. So now we can look at the camera.
Frank 101.
It looks like we're engaging the audience, but in reality, we're just looking at ourselves.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I should do that because behind you guys, I'm watching the Cubs game.
Oh, you are?
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. So that kind of like brings us into the next part of the conversation, which is your truck has been through so many different stages.
Yeah.
And I guess we won't go through all of them because there are many, but some of the most notable ones is that one when I first met you, how it looked, the kind of rat rod look. And then the second one is like after, because you and Steve Hannigan, Beesh, you guys did the body drop on it and stuff like that. And then you guys turned it into the micro machine.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is probably my favorite iteration of your truck.
So what happened was we were both, well, actually, he was a member, and I was petitioning this particular club that we were getting into, I was trying to get into, and it was like a month, it was 27 days before the Forbidden Fantasy Show in Lake Paris, and they're like, you need to have your truck here. It needs to be done if you want to get a logo, and I was like, well, if it's going to go, it was already bagged, it needs to be body dropped. All right, so we were just going to body drop it, and we pulled the bed off, and we saw the old suspension, and like I had railed this truck up and down the freeway, and it had its miles on it. So I was like, let's just do a back half. Let's just do a 4-link. Let's just do front suspension. Like, and we still only have 27 days before we have to roll into Forbidden. So we did the back half, all the tube work that was done, and we shortened the frame a foot, thinking like, oh, we're gonna take the difference out of the back of the bed to match the wheel well opening to the front of the bed. And we ended up doing that. We took a foot out of the back wheel well portion of the bed and shrunk the bed a foot, which made the truck look even smaller. Because then at that point we body dropped it past the rocker, so then it was already lower, and then it just looked weird. Like lifted, it wasn't proportionate.
When it was small?
When it was smaller, yeah. Oh. Laid out, it looked good because it was,
well, it was just because it was just so different. It was so interesting because like not only do you have this body drop truck that's already super low, but it's tiny. It's like shorter. Yeah. It was a really killer look. Like I always was kind of hoping in the back of my mind that one day you'd just go back to that and just build another micro machine truck.
We shortened, so the bed was already kind of like, we had cut the mounts and raised the mounts, and then we didn't like it, so we moved the mounts. So it was kind of already a lot of work that had gotten into that bed. Mm-hmm. So we're like, let's cut it, shorten it, see if it's gonna work. If it does, then we'll get some OE bed sides, do a proper, build a structure under it and whatnot. And when we did it, the bed it looked cool, but it wasn't like body work. It was just kind of tacked and primer together. and it just started getting worse and worse. Like it just started sagging because of the way that it was.
So it just really wasn't. It was sort of like a cool in the moment thing, but it wasn't very feasible to keep on with that look.
Yeah. And then another funny thing is I was looking for a bed to build, like an OE bed, and then I found this like primer tan Tacoma bed on like Craigslist that had like 1,000,000 1x1 square tubing welded under the bed.
So from like someone else.
Yeah, from someone else.
Yeah. I did that.
Oh. I see. I was so lost. I'm like, really?
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah. Brian the whole time.
So it ended up being a bed that it was off a truck that had been in the club, and they had raised the bed floor and then just sheeted over the top.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I mean, you could throw 10 people on top of that thing and it wouldn't move.
Who did that?
What's that? So that truck was a Sunset truck that my buddy Matt at the time
It
bought,
was
and then we
Stalker's
drove
old
it up.
truck.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Stalker.
took it-
I
remember
remember.
Stalker?
I remember
Yeah.
Stalker. Yeah.
We took it up to NorCal, and we're just like, up to Dave's shop, and we're just like, we're gonna throw a permanent tonneau on this thing because it was beat. And so went down and we got I don't even know how many feet of 1x1, and we just did it. And then he ended up that truck I think went to Bobby.
It went to
didn't
Bobby Venieri. Yeah, no
Oh, from-
regrets.
from
So
No
then
Regrets.
he got it, and then Steve Wilkes put a stock bed on it and put that bed up for sale on Craigslist. So at that time, I didn't know who Steve was. Like I was just some random dude on Craigslist. Like, oh, this bed, I don't know what I paid for, like a couple $100. But I drove down to his shop, that is still his shop now, and I picked up the bed. And I was doing something years down the line where I built the bed I have now. And I was cutting that bed apart, and Brian was like, hey, what are you gonna do with those taillight pockets?
Oh, were these the Acura taillight pockets? Oh no, that's something else.
No,
Yeah.
they're the factory Tacoma. They
Oh,
were
I
going
see.
to like a member in Australia or something, is what I remember.
Yeah. I forgot who they went to. That's crazy. I forgot all about all this.
He was like,
whole
he was like,
thing.
oh, let me get those taillight pockets. So I cut those taillight pockets out, and I think I traded them for like a pre-reg entry for like a Forbidden 1 year at Paris. It was like, I don't know what it was. He was like, oh, I'll just take care of you. I was like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, that's tight.
So when I cut them out, he was like, oh, there was pictures of like the rest of the bed, or somehow we figured out that was that bed
Oh,
that
that's
came
funny.
off of that truck that
crazy.
they had worked on at one point. Yeah.
That's so crazy how everything is like so kind of interconnected with everything.
It is.
That's
Big
crazy.
time.
So after that, it was like I think maybe I'm wrong with there's like four main like I guess iterations is the best way to say it. It was the when I first met you that style, the micro machine style. Then it was a style that it was like for a while where it was like that satin white with the skull on the hood and like the pink in the bed.
Okay, yeah. So then that's when that's when I was working at a fab shop in Corona, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this truck right. Like I took it down. I got new OE fenders for the front because the ones I had were like shaved corners, that I actually got from Mike Jones.
Oh really?
Remember that green Tacoma that he had? So those were the fenders.
Oh, those are the fenders.
Yeah.
On that.
So when I was
So
piecing my
funny.
truck together, it was a
Yeah.
mutt, dude. Like it had
Dude.
parts from here, from there, whatever.
That's so funny.
So I got OE fenders. I got a replacement hood, the correct bumper, and we shot it it was Summit white with matte clear.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like primer, but it was a staged paint job. And then I had Manny Cisneros, which is out in El Cajon, pinstripe, do all the pinstriping, which is that like kind of leafing type of like pinstriping, but he creates images. So like he would do skulls and roses and stuff out of pinstripe lines. So I had him do the truck, and then
that hood ended up on your daily.
that ended up on my
So you
daily,
still
which
have
is
that?
still on my daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Which is another funny story. So then that leads to what it looks like now, which I was like, you know what, the truck was cool. You know, I had my fun with it, but I got kind of bored of it being just like a plain white. Or actually, I got tired of people asking me when I was going to paint it.
Oh, because it was a satin.
Because it looked
color.
primer. Yeah, they're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, when are you going to paint it? I'm like, well, actually, like it is painted, but whatever. So then I was like, I've always liked the Foreigner clips on those trucks, and not too many people out here at the time were doing it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start sourcing all the parts. And I have some connections at Cal Mini, so I went in, I picked up some OE fenders, and I put the lead out for the limited hood, which has a scoop, which is it's you can buy it aftermarket, but even aftermarket's like $600, and it's just cheaper material, like it dents real easy. So I was looking for an OE one, which I eventually got, but I hit up a guy on OfferUp that was selling some headlights. They're like brand new headlights, $40, and I was like, cool. You know, he lived like a few blocks from me, and I went on his page, and he was like, oh, he had corner lights, and he had a fender, and he had like a wiper cowl, and I was like, oh, what else do you have? He's like, bro, I have the whole front end. I'm putting a Tacoma clip on my 4Runner, and I was like, bro, like, how many parts do you have for your Tacoma clip? And he was like, I haven't bought anything. I was like, well, hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I was like, I have a Tacoma. Do you want to just trade parts?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, well, what do you have? And I was like, I have a Tacoma. Like, I have the complete front end.
The whole thing, yeah.
It's all OE parts, besides the hood that was on it at the time, which is why I ended up keeping it. So then I gave him the front clip off of my truck and the hood off of my daily, because that was an OE hood, which was white still, and the rest of the truck was white. So I mean, that same night I drove to his house. I took all the 4Runner parts.
At the dude's house?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, I pulled up, and he already had all the stuff off his 4Runner, and it was
awesome.
lifted. So I ended up seeing it afterwards, which was pretty cool, because it was like on coilovers, long travel, and it had my old Tacoma front clip on it.
That's cool.
And then I pulled up in my Tacoma with the 4Runner clip. So it was a whole...
So a couple things on a couple points on all that. Number one is, like, when you put to me, in my opinion, like, the thing that, like, turns me off the most about taking that generation 4Runner front end and putting it on a Tacoma, and I think Brian has the same thing, is that giant bumper that sticks out.
Oh, the snaggletooth?
Yeah.
And
I call it the chin.
The chin. And you actually, I remember coming over to your house one night for something, and you were showing it to me, and you actually, like, Frenched it back and then cut it to the wheel well opening.
Yeah, so we essentially took that same 4Runner front bumper, and we shaped it so I made a pattern of the side of the Tacoma bumper, and we shaped it, to the same length and whatever, the same wheel well opening, and just cut it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it really cleaned up that front end, and by, like, making it a little more, like, smooth.
Yeah, we essentially just tucked it back to where the Tacoma bumper sits, with the larger valance opening that the 4Runner would have.
Yeah, it turned out killer.
It looked pretty trick.
Yeah, because what year is your Tacoma
My Tacoma's
again?
2001.
Oh, okay. So it did have the newer front end on it. It had the 0 and 04 front end on it. Okay.
Yeah, originally, that's the front end that came with.
So that was one point. And the other point is just listening to you, like, describe this whole thing, how it went down about sourcing these parts and, like, talking to people. That's the other thing about you, is you are the king of, like, wheeling and dealing and, like, getting...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, sometimes it blows me away, like, the stuff that you can get done through, like, OfferUp or, like... But back then it wasn't OfferUp, it was, like, Craigslist.
It was Craigslist, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's always been so cool how you've been able to do all this stuff. The other thing that I'm curious about that truck is, like, you've had it for so long, it's gone through so many different phases, and you've driven that thing. Like, you've really driven that thing. Was it hard? Like, now it's like a finished truck. It's like a finished product. It's a show. Would you consider it a show truck?
No, I don't. I consider it a street truck.
Okay,
but it's finished to a point where I can show it. But I don't consider it a show truck.
But my question is, like, was it difficult always working with something that was always kind of like, I don't want to say beat up on, but definitely used.
Say it.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
I mean,
no.
I've seen you drag that truck for like 10 miles at a time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, like, was it difficult to take something that and, like, turn it into the finished product that you have now?
What I had to do was I had to replace a lot of parts.
Yeah.
So when I decided to do the 4Runner clip and essentially just redo the whole truck, I sourced new fenders because my fenders were chewed up from the inside. I got new bed sides. I redid the entire outside skin of my bed. I did the tailgate skin with the 2018 Tacoma.
Oh, that's a really cool mod.
So it's got the Tacoma embossed into the tailgate, which a lot of people think is just painted because of the trim that Hot Dog painted on it, but it's actually AP Atom sheet metaled all that in so that it's legit. But yeah, I had to fix a lot of stuff that I fucked up over the years, like just reinforcing some stuff. And then when we got the new bed skins and the fenders, I had Noel run some 1/4-inch rod on the inside of from end to end all the way through, and it's reinforced.
So it's not going to get that crack right there.
Yeah,
at the
no,
arch.
the infamous not on the bed or the fenders. I'll crack before the bed does.
What how many miles are on that truck now?
It's got, as of the last time I drove it, which was last Sunday, it's got 219,000.
No, that's actually not
Nice.
bad.
When I bought the truck, it had about like 30 something thousand.
Yeah. Because you drive that thing every day.
Yeah,
So it's not your daily right now, right? When did it stop being your daily?
It stopped being my daily about 6 years ago when I got my other
okay.
Tacoma that is now also not my daily.
But which is funny because this other Tacoma that he's talking about, there's a couple things that I just want to brush, that you brushed on that are actually kind of big things. Like one is your current daily isn't just like a stock Tacoma. It's on coilovers. It's dumped. It's on billet wheels.
It's notch. It's got coilovers, upper and lower control arms. It's just a clean little daily.
Yeah, it's just a clean cruiser, but it's not like a stock Tacoma by any means.
No, it's far from
So that was
stock.
like the first thing. The second thing that you just brushed over is Pete Finland Hot Dog painted your truck. It's a hot dog paint job.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked about that. I kind of lucked out on getting in with him, and it just worked out to where the guy, my buddy, that was doing the sheet metal work and the prep work and the paint work for my truck shared the same building, only on opposite ends were the shops of Hot Dog Customs, which is Pete Finland, and then Noel, which is exclusive auto body and customs. And they would share I'm out of sandpaper, let me get a roll, whatever, my booth's full, let me shoot in your booth real quick. So they'd work off each other. So the year and a half or so that my truck spent at Noe's,
Oh, okay.
Hot Dog, would creep over there and he would see it, and then we would.
Because he's a mini trucker.
Yeah, he started painting mini trucks in like the early '80s, which was what got him. Well, not I don't want to say it got him where he is, but he started in mini trucks. Mm-hmm. So we would kind of be like, oh well, we should put some graphics on this, and I'm like, bro, I don't got graphic money, let alone hot dog money. Like, like no, there's no way. And like I'd go over there more, and we kind of built up a little relationship. And once it was getting closer to the end, he's like, how much you got to spend? I'm like, well, I can probably get this much, but you never tell them how much you have.
Right.
But I had to, because I was like, this is all I got, dude. Like this is my number. Like if you can do something with this, cool. And he's like, oh yeah, we can do some like pinstriping, and and I was like, cool, I'm cool with that. And he probably did like 5 or 6 times over what he said he was going to. Yeah. Like he hooked me up. Like he did a.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did you ever like come to him with a plan, or you just said,
no.
do you?
No, I told him. He was like, well, what do you like? And I started I was like, I just like, I don't know. I don't really know what I like. And he's like, what don't you like? I was like, I don't like animal print, and I don't like tribal.
That's exactly two things. I keep on saying 2 things. Like there's always 2 points I need to make. But
that's the second time you've said 2 things.
It's actually like the third or fourth time. I've been keeping track of my hand. I actually called Hot Dog to paint the 4Runner. And where we kind of broke down was I could tell, like I said, okay, I got this 4Runner. I want to paint it blue, and I want to do some light graphics. And he's all, well, what color is it now? And I said, it's like a stock champagne color. And I could just tell that he was not about, like, he would rather take something that was already like one color and then throw graphics on it than sit there and like do a color change. Yeah. So I quickly realized like, I don't think he's really interested in doing this. And then, after that I got hooked up with Alan from AK and he ended up painting it. But the second part to that was, that's exactly what I told Alan. When he did the 4Runner, I told Alan, just like, you do whatever you want. This is the stuff I don't want. Yeah. And that's what I ended up with.
You end up with the best product. Like if you let them essentially do what they love, it comes out in their work. If you don't, you give them more restrictions on what to do, then they're just gonna give you like the bare minimum, like,
Yeah, because you essentially go to a painter because you like their style.
Yeah.
Right. You're not gonna go to like Cal Concepts because you want
a single color paint job.
Yeah, you want a single color paint job.
Yeah.
No.
Are you still a tattoo artist? Are you formerly a tattoo artist?
I have those same notes written right here. I'm like, tattoos, still doing them? Question mark. Why? Why not?
Why not? Why not is I have carpal tunnel.
Oh.
So it made an hour and a half tattoo, which I don't smoke, I don't drink while I was doing it, so I can fly through a session in like an hour and a half, and it turned an hour and a half into like a 4-hour session because I'd have to stop or I'd have to like
Take breaks.
figure out ways to be able to work without my hand essentially falling asleep, which is not a good thing.
So just to clarify with like our listening and our viewing audience, Jaime did tattoo. He's tattooed me. He's done most of the tattoos like that are visible in my chest, and which is like I love all my Jaime Silva tattoos. And you actually tattooed a lot of people in the mini truck community.
I did. Yeah, I did. I tattooed almost everyone that I ran into.
Yeah, you did.
Like
and
some of my tattoos even made it into mini trucking before my truck did.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They did like a reader's.
Oh yeah, the
something.
MT graffiti.
Something, yeah. And like a few tattoos that I did ended up on that. And I was like,
awesome.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Now, did you start that before you started mini trucking stuff?
Yeah, I started tattooing in the barracks in Okinawa, Japan, when I was in the military in 2001.
that was the other thing.
Just to pass, just
to pass the time, yeah. Because when I was there, like there was a lot of knuckleheads messing up off base, so we'd get locked down. So I was there for 9 months, and 7 months of that we were locked down the base, so we could still receive mail. So I was on these online little catalogs, ordering supplies, and they'd ship them right to me. So we'd pay off the dude at the front gate, like call the room if someone's walking by, and we'd be in the room
Just tattooing.
tattooing.
That's awesome. Because that's the other thing that like a lot of people don't know about Jaime is you were in the military. What branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Okay. I don't know much
Yeah.
about any of that, so I don't have much to offer other than that I know that about Jaime.
Yeah.
But no, that's really cool. Like I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's really cool. So you never really like went the traditional like tattoo route of like apprenticeships and stuff like that? You just sort of like just started tattooing.
I've always considered myself an artist. Like I've always drawn. Like growing up, we didn't have much, and I can always pick up a pencil and draw on whatever was.
What was your first tattoo?
I did an outline of a hammerhead shark.
That's
Do you still talk? Do you still talk to that guy?
No, I don't know where he's at. He was some dude from like Oklahoma. Like that was like it was like a roommate of like one of our homies or something. So he was like, "I'm down."
Yeah.
Okay.
That's tight. And he's just like, I want a hammerhead shark.
Let's do it. Yeah. I was like, "What do you want?" He's like, "I don't know." We had like a stack of like tattoo magazines because that's when people bought magazines. We'd have a stack of magazines and we'd go through them and like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, what about that?"
That's awesome.
So we didn't have like a printer, like transfer paper. So I think I drew it on him with like a Sharpie.
And then just
went to town, yeah.
That's
and
cool.
it came out, and I just only did the outline because I was like, in the beginning, I was probably like the first year or so that I was tattooing. I was only doing outlines. I was like, I don't want to get into any more than I'm probably gonna make look terrible. So if I can get this far and it looks decent, like that's where I'm gonna leave it at.
And so you just kept on doing it and doing it and doing it, and eventually you got really good at it. You got really good at it. Don't let him be humble or anything like that. He got really good at it.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's shit.
Do you miss doing it though?
I definitely do. I've actually I've been getting tattooed a lot. Well, it's been a few months since I've gotten anything done recently, but I've surrounded myself with a good group of artists, the professional artists that have been doing all of my work recently, and they all push me to get back into it.
Yeah.
Like they're real supportive. They're real, and everybody like Frank and people that I still talk to on a daily, often, are always like, you need to get back into it, and it's not for lack of not wanting to. It's just
like physically
being able to. Yeah.
So what's the procedure to get back into it? Yeah, just shorter sessions, not big pieces. Or?
Well, there's even when I was tattooing, it was all coil machines. So the way that the coil machine is set up is all the weight it's counterweight. So the weight is on the backside of the machine. So it's a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. Now they have these rotary machines where essentially it looks like a pen, and it's got like a battery pack and it's all internal and whatnot. So if you can write with the pencil, essentially you can tattoo with these machines. So that's gonna be my step into trying to get back into this is trying that form of machine, see what how my wrists and my hands react to that.
Gotcha.
And then if that
well, at least if If they're you could just do outlines of Hammerhead Shark
Yeah,
only.
yeah. I mean, if it's Shark Week, they're on sale, bro. That was
Shark
last week
Week.
though, so you guys missed out. Maybe that'll be my that'll be like my official comeback. It'll be like Shark Week next year.
Dude, if you want to tattoo a hammerhead shark on me, I'm so down. You don't even
I'm gonna have
you
to
don't
tattoo
even know
myself
how
before I tattoo
incredibly down
anybody
I
else,
am.
though.
So I was bringing up all that. That was really cool, like interesting. But I bring that up for again a couple different reasons. Number one is like we were talking about going to artists like painters and just sort of like saying like giving them a lot of creative control.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with
Yeah.
my tattoos. Like and
Yeah.
you know that like I would say
Yeah.
like this is what I want, but beyond that like you just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I don't as a creative like as an artist, is that appreciative or does that make it harder?
Both.
Both.
Like it's cool because it kind of like you'll be able to call the bluff on whoever you're going to, because it's like if they're like, oh, I'm an artist, I'll take care of you, and then you give them your ideas and they give you this like cookie cutter design, then you know that they're not an artist. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for Google images and like, this is what you like, this is what you want. Mm-hmm. But you go to someone and they give you this line drawing on paper and you can see the erasing marks. And
back to your truck, your license plate. Your license plate is tattoo you for it. Because I could only imagine just how much tattooing you've done to get stuff done on the truck.
Yeah, I think when I was, Steven, him and I, mostly him, did the welding and the suspension work on my truck, and I essentially just tattooed him. Like, I was staying with him at his house up in Victorville at the time. So we'd spend a day, a few days in the garage, and then we'd have like a short day one day, and I'd just be in his kitchen tattooing him, like, and I did both sleeves. I did some work on his side and his back, whatnot, which was my form of paying him for him helping me. Mm-hmm. Like I'd trade people for like subwoofers or
T-shirts,
rims, T-shirts.
Me and Jaime have done a lot of bartering for T-shirts,
like
for tattoos.
A run of T-shirts for like some tattoo work. Like,
I thought he was like trading you actual T-shirts. Like, hey, I'll give you a couple custom life shirts for this tattoo.
No, I had my own design, and he would print it out for me or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I don't think Jaime has ever paid for a custom life shirt ever. I always give them to him. But I'm trying to say I'm a nice guy, and I always give him shirts.
He's a nice guy.
Oh yeah, you're forever in his.
And that brings up a point, and I'm sure, and I said this in the last episode, and I'm pretty sure a couple of people are like, people probably think I have like a man crush on Jaime, because I feature this dude in so much stuff. I like film his truck. I take photos of his truck. You're in the videos. I swear you are in the last like 3 or 4 videos.
Yeah.
Even a little cameo, you're in it.
Is it because I drive to everything though?
We're going to get to that. There's a couple topics. Please stay tuned to the episode because there's a couple of spicy topics we're going to get onto.
Ooh.
Driving your shit is one of them, and wheels, billets is specifically. But we'll get there. We'll naturally let that conversation get there. But so I'm thinking like there's some people who are probably like, I wonder what's up with Frank.
Frank really likes this guy.
The honest truth is like I've said before on the podcast, is like I like when I have friends who do like cool stuff, I just want to show that off to everybody. I just want to show everybody like, look how cool my friend is. You know what I mean? So
mediocre.
That's
mediocre, bro.
Well, mediocre.
Frank,
You're mediocre.
It's weird because Frank never wants to show me off.
That sounds terrible.
I know it does, but I guess I just don't do cool stuff.
He doesn't talk to. Don't you have a Tacoma?
Yeah, somewhere.
So what pieces? Some pieces are here, some pieces are there.
No, I just scored wheels for it today.
Frank
though.
likes Tacomas. What'd you get?
Let's just jump right into this about wheels. So tell them about the wheels you just got. They're
What'd you
sick.
get?
Oh, the Enki LM ones
No shit.
Yeah, those are dope.
in 20s.
20s.
In
20s.
20s.
Those are there
Because-
8s or 7.5s?
That I don't know, but
Do you have the caps? The caps are what's like the hardest part to find of those wheels.
yeah. So it's all there. They were on a Mazda out here in Arizona that NorCal Dave just bought.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want those wheels because I bought Enki LM1s when they first came out. And they were only, I think they were 18s, and then I sold them and I regretted it every day.
regrets,
but I'm like,
bro.
I want to run. Yeah, I know. I want to run. There, you always have one. As you guys should change your name.
Yeah,
But
right?
we only have
Only
one. Yeah. But I was like, I want to run 20s on the Tacoma when I get
Yeah.
it, not 18s. And when I saw those, I told Dave, I was like, I said dibs on those wheels. And he was like, I'll give them to you on Sunday because I'm taking the bed of that Mazda out there.
What kind of wheels is he going to put on it? Or we don't want to disclose that.
He doesn't know
yet.
He doesn't know. He's just different ones.
Yeah, those LM1s are cool because they're a high offset, flat face, so they're perfect for Tacomas because you're not going to chew up your bed sides or your fenders.
But they're not like a KMC unit flat face.
No, the unit
they actually
it's
have
actual flat face. The units have the spoke, which is actually why I took my KMCs off because driving low and turning those spokes.
Oh, they're like hitting the fender.
The fender, yeah. So then that's when I built the 19 works that I have on it now, which are more of a flat face like the LM1s, where you can drive and if the wheel does happen to touch the fender, it's a smooth contact. You're not beating the fender.
How many sets of wheels have you counted? How many sets of wheels you've had for that?
Hold
truck?
on, before we get way too far into the wheel conversation, for those who don't know, the viewers and listeners who don't know, tell them what you do, like what you do for a living.
I'm a welder and I repair wheels at Jason's Wheel Repair. I am the employee of the months because I'm
all of
the months. I'm the only employee.
So you work with wheels every single day.
Yeah.
So that sort of like sets up this next conversation that we're gonna have is all about wheels because you have killer taste in wheels. We were talking before the episode. That we've been talking about wheels a lot on this podcast, about billets, about non-billets, and all these different things. But after thinking about it, I realize I have terrible taste in wheels. Like I don't have good taste.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not even going to argue.
Look at that. Look at that. He's not even going to argue.
Smile that hard
because he knows, and I just came to the realization that
So the wheels that are on Frank's 4Runner now were actually NorCal Dave's as well.
Okay.
And one day Dave posted, I got these wheels for sale. I instantly messaged Frank. I said, get these wheels because those wheels on your 4Runner now do not do it justice.
Let me defend myself. So the wheels that I had on the Runner to begin with were not the wheels that I chose. Like when I took it to Sadistic and they started building it, he's like, give me a set of wheels and we'll start building it. So I just went on Craigslist and I found a set of 18s and just bought them and said, here you go. So I never considered those wheels even good.
Yeah.
But but then you told me about the wheels that are currently on it, which look great. But that is my style. Like I've always loved chrome 5-spoke wheels.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone could not like chrome 5-spoke
they're pretty
wheels.
classic looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just if that's why they're so popular in many different sorts and fashions because they are just that great of a wheel. But Jaime, do you sell lug nuts at your store?
Gosh.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I on the way over here, I was watching that episode, so I'm gonna get him some rust-free lug nuts. They might even be painted, so that they'll never.
I'm
rust.
just a charity case. Like everybody's like gonna get me stuff for the 4Runner because I'm just a shitty person. Yes. I'm going to disclose two things. I have zero taste in wheels, and I'm not very good at having a nice truck. I know these things, but anyway, I digress. So wheels. So you were talking about the KMCs. You took the KMC wheels on your Tacoma, and you took them off. You built those. Did you build those other wheels?
So the other wheels, it's a single piece cast wheel, but I bought them off of importer. So they fill containers up from wheels from Japan, and then they pretty much like wholesale them out.
What do you mean?
cheap.
Like explain. I've never heard of that before.
So there's a few companies out here. They send vendors out or like they send their scouts out to Japan, and they buy all these like scrap wheels, but they're sets. But one or two of them might be good. They might be bent, But once they're bent over there, they scrap them.
Oh, they don't even attempt to
No,
repair them.
they don't even worry about fixing them. Like so, then they're throwaways. So then these guys go out there, they buy these wheels, and then they fill containers, and then send the containers out here. Oh, well, those wheels out here are rare, so whatever condition they're in, people are buying them. Mm-hmm. So I bought these off a guy that had them imported, and they were corroded. They were curb rash, like 3 of them were bent, but to me that means nothing. Like I do that at work, so
that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I had the wheels. I bought the wheels. I sent them out to get chrome stripped, and then I picked them up from the chrome stripper, and then the wheels have a casting on the front where it's got the name, which is Work Wheels Japan, and then it had like these other casting moldings. So I welded all those holes shut and then ground all that away. So now,
so
like I like,
Oh.
and that stuff like no one's ever gonna notice
Yeah.
because unless you know what that wheel looks like and what markings are where, you're never gonna know that it wasn't there. Mm-hmm. So
Is it pretty precise when you're welding those holes up for balance reasons? Like, how precise do you have to be?
it essentially, I mean, you can take a chunk out of a wheel and still balance it just fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm welding like those holes, it would be within like, I don't know, I wouldn't even be able to tell you like the weight, like measurement. But
Yeah.
for example, when we balance the wheel, it goes in 1/4 ounce increments. So anything less than 1/4 of an ounce, which is probably like the weight of like a quarter, like actual physical quarter, is you can have a rock in your tire, and it's gonna be more weight than a weight that you add to when you balance your wheels. So it's
Gotcha.
not anywhere where anything you're gonna feel when you're driving. So I did that, and then the backside of the wheels were, if you look at the backside of a wheel, it's got like the little groove marks, which is a cast molding where it's not finished. Like the front of the wheels is usually gonna be smooth. When you look at the back wheel, it's rough. So we had-
it's got those like little textured ribs in it. Yeah.
So I had the back of the barrels polished also, as much as the face, and then I had them chromed. So now that the wheels came back from chrome, the back of the wheel is
all
essentially
smooth.
just as smooth and nice as
wow.
the face of the wheel,
That's
which
cool.
is shit that no one's ever gonna notice. Mm-hmm. Like they'll look past.
Are you? Oh, sorry. I said, are you seeing more of taking like old wheels and putting new barrels on them and things like that with different offsets for stuff? I know there's a couple guys on the internet, like on Instagram, that are doing
Yeah.
that.
I've seen that where they take like stock wheels and like put crazy
they
offsets
cut
on them.
apart. Yeah, there's a couple guys. We actually do a lot of work for one of the shops that do that, and they take a monoblock cast wheel, like a factory OEM wheel. They cut the face off, machine it down to fit inside of a barrel.
Oh, cool.
And then you can build it to whatever spec you want. So like this one guy in particular did a set of wheels for like a 96 Impala SS for like, I think it was like Mr. Cartoon or something. And he took the factory Impala SS wheels, cut them apart, and then built them with like a lip.
That's awesome.
So then
That's
it's
cool.
like you have the factory wheels, but then now they're, to spec.
Yeah,
and-
it's definitely one of my favorite things
Yeah.
to watch happen right now, because you have so many cool like 90s
Yeah.
JDM cars with these wheels, like 300Z wheels, factory wheels.
Yeah.
If you cut them out and you put a little lip on them, it just changes.
Yeah, it
the
changes
entire
the whole.
thing.
And,
so
and most of the time, people aren't even gonna, unless you know those wheels, you're not gonna know that they're a OEM wheel cut apart, built into a spec
Yeah.
of what you want. Like,
Yeah, and I was just talking to Dave about this, about like to find a 17 or 18, even a 20-inch chrome wheel is getting more rare these days.
yeah, everything's coming painted in machine now. It's cheaper.
and bigger.
It's cheaper,
right?
yeah.
and bigger.
I think
Yeah,
the
so,
smallest
like,
wheel right now is like a 20-inch maybe. It's even harder. Like
Yes.
22s are the standard now.
Yeah, so if you're a mini trucker, like, and you want to find a set of 18-inch chrome wheels, you're not finding anything brand new.
No.
So you're either hoarding these wheels or you're having to get creative with the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, no, a lot of the stuff nowadays, in even like newer wheels, the material that they're using is getting cheaper and cheaper. Like it's all recycled aluminum. So
Yeah.
Well, I've had brand new wheels where we pull them out of a box and they're already corroded.
Wow.
Or like
Oh,
they're
wow.
on the road for a month and they're getting all these stress cracks on the back of the wheel or even on the face of the wheel from the weight of the vehicle, where there's no impact. It's just the material they're using is just garbage. It's
Now, is that because you'll have like a full-size Chevy on a set of wheels it's just not built for the weight?
that
Does that have anything to do with it, too?
That also no, that in that case, like the rims would just bend on any impact. Like
Gotcha.
they're somebody would be like, oh, my rims bent, but I didn't hit anything. Like just pulling in your driveway,
Yeah, oh,
hot,
yeah.
that little step from the sidewalk to the street, that little 1.5
Yeah.
inch step can ruin your wheel if you pull in hot enough. And people are like, oh, I didn't hit no potholes.
The 4Runner's built for 20s, but I always run 18s with a fatter tire for that reason. Like,
Yeah.
running down the freeway, the freeways in Southern California,
roads
they're
are trash.
jacked up. Is that like a misconception? Should I be as confident in a 20-inch wheel with a 35 series tire as I am, in an 18-inch wheel with a...
Yeah,
I
'cause
drive. I
tires
drive
are
my
made-
Tacoma.
I'm sorry, tires are made better nowadays, right?
Yeah, the road.
Like
I drive my Tacoma on 20s with a 30 series stretched 225 30 20
Wow.
to Utah. Like,
But you're not? But it's different because if something happens to your wheel, you just fix it.
yeah, but if I'm in Utah, I can't fix it.
That's true.
Like, I have the confidence in the wheel, but then I'm also running wheels from the 90s, which were made from better material.
Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
So-
Because the sidewalls on tires, especially with low profiles, because so many new OEM cars have low profile tires,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they had to make the sidewalls
I see.
A
Stronger.
bit more rigid. Yeah.
Now, does
Yeah.
that make because I remember back in the day, there was certain different types of low profile tires you could get to make the ride better because the sidewalls were so stiff.
Yeah, so right now, which is, I don't know, I guess it's practicality for newer cars. A lot of European, like BMWs or Audis or whatnot, they come with run flats and they don't come with the spare.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, I've heard of that.
they have run flats because they're like, oh, well, it'll get you off the road. And run flat doesn't mean you can drive on it flat for like a month. People
mean just get off the road.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
supposed to run flat to get you off the road, like get you to safety. Mm-hmm. And we get people come in like, oh, it's got a run flat. You know, how long has it been flat? Oh,
A
like
month?
2 weeks. Like, no, that doesn't mean you can keep driving on it.
They need to rename the wheel. They need to rename it to Run Flat for just a bit.
Run flat. Well, yeah. I mean, if you read the sidewall of the tire, it'll tell you, but nobody reads.
Yeah, do you guys remember that Hot Boy song? Or I don't know, is it Hot Boys? I don't know, but they're like sitting on Yokohama tires and they
Yeah.
got to be run flat.
They got to be run flats.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. You just ate yourself.
I know. I just
Yeah.
was thinking. I was
Yeah.
I
singing that
actually
song in my
never
head.
heard of that.
Oh
No?
Well, you're not
No.
cool.
What song is that?
I am 100% not hip, so there is that.
So let's go right into the one first. We'll get to the second hot topic here in a second. But
Well, I want to
billet wheels. Oh,
but you didn't answer my question though. How many sets of wheels have you been
that's
on that
right.
Tacoma?
I don't know.
so many.
Oh, currently for my Tacoma? Mm-hmm. Currently, I have 4 sets.
No, he's saying how many sets have you
Have
had
I
over the
had?
years?
Over the
You don't-
years,
yeah.
I don't know over the years.
You've had
But
so
it-
many.
The last
different-
time I counted, I made like a little picture collage of like all the wheels I had at one point, and it was like 18 sets.
And saying, but
this
currently you own 4.
I own 4. Yeah, I only
Okay.
own 4. Only.
What? I've only ever seen two: the units and then the work.
I have some Lowenhearts and some AMEs.
Oh, those
The
Loneheart
three-piece-
ones.
The 3-piece ones.
Those
yeah.
Loneheart ones are sick.
Yeah.
I look at wheels like remember like old school car audio, like old school Rockford, old school
Yeah.
Ryan, old
Yeah.
school Phoenix Gold. Like that's how I am with wheels.
Yeah.
Like TSWs and the old OG KMCs before
Yeah.
MHT and all this, the Wheel Pros and all them bought them. Like when they were
Yeah.
in Riverside.
Yeah.
Like those are the wheels. Like I wish I would like to collect those. Like people collect BMX bikes.
Yeah.
That's sort of like what you're alluding to, because like you're saying that these 90s wheels and these cast wheels are actually getting more scarce.
They are because a
Because-
lot of them got scrapped.
Oh,
like
okay.
at some point, they're like, oh, no one's ever going to want Chrome 20s anymore.
Yeah,
So a lot of
or
them
these
were
are only
getting-
17s. I'm just going to get rid of them. Like
Yeah.
Because who wants 17s?
Yeah.
Well, Dave found a set of TSW. I want to look at this real quick because you'll find this interesting. Don't mind me. Like, remember, like the TSW. Oh yeah, TSW Rockinghams. A set of
Yeah.
brand new 18x8s for $300.
Where?
Wow.
Send me
So
that
they're-
link.
They're on offer.
I'm gonna hit up Rob right now.
They're in Glendora right now. I'll send it to you.
That's fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Hyman's like, I gotta go.
I'm just gonna send an Uber. I'm gonna send
I
an
know.
Uber driver over there. I'm gonna send an Uber over there to pick him up.
Dave's gonna message me tomorrow and be like, "Hey man, those TSWs, I went to get them and someone got them."
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They're all
That's cool,
stacked
man.
behind it.
I'm all, that's cool. Can I get my Yankees right now though?
Right? That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no, that's really interesting. Like, that's going to be a thing. Oh, maybe that already, like you said, maybe it already is a
It
thing.
already is. Like we've refurbished, repaired, and rechromed a few like 18, 17s sets of like 90s chrome wheels for some trucks that are out in the scene right now.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That people might not know, but like they've recently redone them or
Like in our
repaired
scene
them.
or like,
yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah, because you got to look at Carl's truck and look at what Boyd's been doing with the old billet wheels that were like 15s and recreating them in these
Yeah.
22s and stuff. So it's part of the nostalgia factor, and it's also like mini trucks, real mini trucks, look good, better on a 20-inch or smaller wheel, and some look good on an 18-inch or smaller wheel.
That's what I said. That's my thing. Like, and we'll kind of start touching on the billet subject right now. Like, I don't think my truck, and maybe I'm looking at it from a biased point of view because I do like chrome 5-spoke wheels. Like, I don't think my truck would look that good on a set of billets.
Yeah, but you're saying billets like they all look exactly the same because you can have a set of 5-star billet wheels that'll look great on.
That's true. Yeah, I like Eric's wheels.
Yeah. So we talked about that. Like, billet's a buzzword and it's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, what did you say? You said in
billets are nice when they're not yours.
Yeah.
when you don't have to maintain them. You don't have. I mean, you can have freshly polished billets and you can look at them wrong and they'll scratch.
I think billet wheels are for, like, if you're Forerunner, for example, Frank. If you're like, I want a set of wheels no one else has. That's where a billet wheel can come into play because you can design it to however you
do
want.
whatever you want. Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that's when it's cool. But just like if you just had a 5-spoke set of billets and the wheels you have now look better.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So there's just more customization in that. But you know what I just realized? Like, my mind's kind of changing gears here. But like, speaking about like billet wheels that are like highly customizable, you can kind of do whatever you want. You're kind of doing that though with the works that you built and your the Lone Hearts. Like, you're essentially making like bespoke wheels.
Yeah.
You're making like tailored wheels.
Yeah.
So is that, and I feel like so out of touch right now, but is that a thing too? Like, people are making bespoke, like tailored wheels, or
the average Joe is not going to,
because they're just as expensive as a custom set of like billet wheels.
Yeah. Okay. So my works, they're 19s. With what I paid to buy the wheels, to machine them, to if I counted the hours of the weld and prep work before they even went to chrome, on top of chrome, and it's like show chrome, so then it's got like, I don't know, the extra polishing, so it gets rid of any fisheye. The backsides had to be extra polished. Like, I mean, I don't know a number. I refuse to count the number because I don't want to, whatever. But I could have bought a set of billets for that.
I see.
Yeah, you get some 17-inch factory, I don't know, Toyota turbo wheels, and you're like, I want to cut these out and I want to put them on in a different hoop or however you do it. I mean, you're $4 or $5 grand into those wheels. So,
and not everyone, not everyone is going to take the time or have the effort to want to do that. And I almost feel like billets are kind of like more of a cookie cutter where you can just call this company and anybody can call this company and buy those wheels. Not anybody can actually go out and source a set of old Nemesis or Albas or units or LM1s.
Yeah, and I think that's where like Carl's truck is set apart because he didn't just go and buy an on-the-shelf race line or an off-the-shelf intro. Yeah. Like you look at his truck and you're like, that it messes with your head because you don't see it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. And Holly's doing the similar thing too, right?
I think they were still an off-the-shelf wheel, just in a bigger size.
I see. But Carl's were like
old school, like they probably didn't make them bigger than 16s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think his was actually probably like the first truck to have like that retro style in like, it's like someone zoomed into the picture. And
okay. Yeah, I get it.
They threw essentially that's what they did is they made that wheel that much larger. And I think he has like 22s, 24s or something.
I think he's got a set of 22s and then an extra set of 24s for the back.
For the back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he told me the story where he was like, "Oh yeah, if somehow or whatever they're like, oh, they just threw the 24s at him. Like, if you can get it to this show, and they made it was
SEMA.
It was SEMA, right?
Yeah,
I want to say it was SEMA, but yeah.
So essentially, like, what this whole conversation is saying that like anything could be cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, you could, if you just got like a real random set of like chrome wheels, that could look cheesy. Or if you just got like a real cookie cutter random set of billets, that could look cheesy. But it's not until you start really thinking about it and planning ahead that it starts becoming like sort of like the basis for the whole thing.
Well, you
like
have to think of our mentality as mini truckers. is we don't like cookie cutter stuff. We don't like off the shelf stuff. It's like we don't walk into a tattoo shop and pick a picture off of the wall. It's like mentalities across the board. So if you're seeing all these full size trucks on these wheels that they just went and there's 300 other of the same trucks that have the same wheels.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we get this from.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can also take a set of those cookie cutter wheels and get them refurbished in a different finish. You can get them painted to match your vehicle. You can get them brushed, polished, like, clear. There's clear candies where you can change the tones of the color, like, set those wheels apart still from the guy parked next to you that has the same exact wheels that you have.
It's all just about what kind of creative drive you have behind it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like people who lack creative drive just end up with like the cookie cutter stuff. But people who have an idea, like a really solid idea on what they want to build or a look that they want to go for, then they end up with something cool.
Like your truck ended up with something cool because you knew the look you wanted to go for.
Right.
Yeah. And at some point you might not even know what look you're going for. You just like something and you do it, and it maybe it's cool, maybe it's not, but if you do something, you're never gonna know unless you try it. Like those wheels, I probably could have put all that work into them and then put them on my truck and absolutely hated them.
Oh man, imagine that.
'Cause I've done that before.
Oh, you have?
I bought a set of some 20-inch billets, some old Boyd Coddingtons, and I stripped them down, polished them, like same front, back, all the the works, and I put them on my truck, and I absolutely hated them.
Yeah, I love the wheel game, man. The wheel game is. That's why I kind of like the Euro stuff, like the Euro cars and things like that, because the wheel game is really strong there.
They those guys will have a set of wheels and they'll buy a car and build a car around the set of wheels.
Yeah, because essentially us as mini truckers, we can shave our taillights, we can chop the roofs on our truck to make them unique. An Audi S4 or a Volkswagen, you don't shave those cars. So the uniqueness about those cars is the way that they're set up. The suspension's set up and the wheels are set up, and how when the hips come out like this, the wheel is also like this, so it matches the hips of the car. Because when the wheels are straight up and down, it doesn't match. So there's like the fitment scene and all that stuff is amazing to me.
Yeah, those guys, they're crazy. They have like every component of suspension is adjustable to get that exact fitment, and you don't see any of that. All of that's hidden under the car.
Just to achieve that outside
Just to
look.
achieve that look, yeah.
Yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. The whole thing, the whole like, and that's why I feel like I have really bad taste in wheels, because I don't think about that stuff. I want to learn. Like I want to pay more attention. I really want to I really want to have a good handle on exactly how all that stuff works.
Well, I think we should start a business. If anyone's out there and they have some chrome wheels, 17s to 20s, let us know.
Send them to me.
Send them to Jaime.
I paid top dollar scrap value. And then we're at $6 a pound right now.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll give you $6.50.
Yeah, then we can start collecting mini trucks too, because those are going to keep going up in value.
Yeah.
If we knew someone that had like lots of land where we could keep cars or something, we could start storing them there.
I don't know who that is. We're not storing any more stuff in my house.
Yeah,
Brian got a tour of the compound a couple weeks ago. So
oh, nice.
I don't think you've ever seen.
I've heard stories of
it's top
what's
secret.
there.
It's top secret.
But I didn't even get the full story. I got some hot points of what's here, but I didn't get this.
We like to keep people guessing.
I know all of our listeners will be like, "What the fuck is at his house? What does he have out there?"
dirt, a lot of dirt,
a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, and 100 cars. But anyway,
rusty lug nuts
and rusted lug nuts.
There's probably vehicles sitting out there with rusty lug nuts,
with nicer lug nuts,
with nicer lug nuts.
What do the lug nuts look on that caddy with the wires? Are they nicer?
Oh, those are. We just changed the wheels on that one, so those are definitely nicer.
nice.
I took the wires off, and it's got stock wheels on it now, so they are definitely nicer.
There you go.
But cool. Yeah, the only other thing that we were kind of alluding to is the whole driving your truck and driving it over, and you drive your truck everywhere. We were
Yeah.
talking about your paint job. You got this hot dog paint job on it, and you would think that like, and this happened to me. Like honestly, this happened to me, and I don't even have, as nice a paint job as you
No,
do.
your-
Was
your
when I
render's
got
nice.
it. When I got it paint. Well, I know. Alan's probably like.
Alan's like, oh, you
That's what-
It's
Hey,
pretty
what's
nice,
going
man.
on?
What
Yeah,
a
I know.
dick.
Sorry, Alan.
Nice.
I'm
I
really
said
sorry.
it was- you
I
heard me
do have
right.
a nice
I
paint
said
job.
It was nice.
But when I did get my nice paint job, I was like, oh, okay, put it in the garage. I'm not doing anything with that.
Yeah.
But you're like, nope. Where
No.
you want to go?
We're railing this motherfucker. Where
I
are you
think
going?
it really comes down to being a little bit with the wheels, as he was saying, and the paint. Because I remember when you first took your truck to Forbidden, and you were super worried about the paint job on yours, Frank.
Oh yeah.
You were just like, if I get a rock chip on this, my life is over. And I think you worry too much about the money you spent on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Versus
Oh, for sure.
like Jaime is like, yeah, I spent this money on it, but again, they're just trucks. They can be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
that's
that's I get my value out of it driving it. Like having, I have more fun driving to a cruise night and driving home than I do sitting in a parking lot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I'd rather be driving somewhere, like it. The first after I got painted in the first long drive, we went to cruising to the Pines.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that first drive out there, I got a rock chip in my hood. I got a fat rock chip on the passenger rocker side, and
How did you handle it?
I was kind of bummed. I was really bummed actually. And Grizzly was like, he's like, "What are they gonna say? You drive it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "You know what? That's true."
Yeah, because I mean,
And
everything can be repaired, but I think it's a natural thing too. When you spend a lot of money on something,
yeah,
you get to that point where your personal financial, whatever you're comfortable with spending, could be $5,000 or $100,000.
yeah,
If you see a rock chip and you're like, it's money out of my pocket now. That's like,
Yeah.
it's $1, that's $2, that's $100
Yeah.
bucks. You're like, you're almost
Yeah.
negative. It's going backwards.
yeah, yeah. But you just have to have fun with it. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially, that's why I feel like I built it. My truck was to drive it. Like I see all these people that don't drive their vehicles or they're on trailers, and I get it. Sometimes they have a vehicle to tow it with, and it might be a little more comfortable. But I don't know. I see the whole fun in it is driving it. Like looking at it, I can look at it whenever.
But you want to use it.
But I wanna-
You want to use it for what it was built to do.
Yeah, I want to drive it. I want to, and I drive it everywhere as low as I can until I cringe because I bottomed out on the freeway. But I'm
All of talking to you and Will and I forget who else we've been talking to about. Who else were we talking to about driving super low? I don't know who.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking to all these people. It is truly inspiring me to do that. To just go out and just do it. It's
is,
kind of like
'cause-
what we were talking about earlier. Like just go out and just do it. And,
just drive, just
Yeah.
cruise, like drive your shit.
yeah.
Well, when I saw Will driving his Nissan that low that day, at first the Chevy truck I have, we were just gonna lay frame. It was just gonna be like a cool vendor truck that I could haul my stuff around. And then I went, I can't do that. I have to get it as low as I can because I want to drive it low. And so, yeah, it's all inspiring me as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Maybe that's what this podcast is doing. Is it's inspiring us to get out there.
It's
and
definitely
just-
it could be called the drop with Frank and Brian, the inspiration with Frank and Brian,
The
or
inspiration
the
inspiration.
therapy with Frank and
ther-
Brian.
yeah, it's probably the therapy.
I'll send you the bill.
I was like, okay, $500 for getting you to drive your truck. Thank you.
or just let me get those LM1s.
I'm picking him up in like L.A. So
Don't even. I'll go pick them up in LA.
No,
You
that's
don't
what I'm
even
saying,
have to
I'm
go
not-
pick them up.
they won't even make it back to Phoenix. I'll just get him for free from Dave and then sell him to you.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
I'll be like, come on, Dave, they're my dream wheel. He's like, all right, man, I'll hook you up. And then not that he's giving it to me for free, but he's giving me a good deal. But
A
that
good
would be-
deal, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of funny if he listens to this. I don't know if he listens to this, but
Just wait till you get the wheels and then release this.
he'll be like, can you send me a photo of those wheels in your garage, please? Like,
Yeah.
No, sorry, I
I'm
can't do
like,
that.
nah, they're gone, bro. There was a tornado and it picked them up.
they fell out of the truck in Riverside.
They just end up on my Tacoma. I had a set.
You're like,
of
I don't
LM
know where I got these.
No, I had a set of LM1s like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I picked them up super cheap from some dude out in the valley. I think I paid like $100 for them, but one of them was corroded like beyond repair, and this was before I worked where I work now. So re-chroming and repairing that wheel was like a few $100. So I was like, no way, that's more than I paid for the whole set. So I sold the set for like $400 or something. I don't know what I sold them for, but I don't know. I think I'm still friends with the guy that bought them from me. But
Danny,
I'm not sure. He still has 'em.
Danny St. Gaudens bought mine.
Oh,
yeah.
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 I think he had him on that extra cab, huh?
Yep, and I think they're still on there.
The one with that had the super tail lights at one point.
Was it that
They
one?
didn't have
I don't
supers
know.
on the bottom.
It is,
The
yeah,
roll
it's the
pan?
same truck because that dude Sean owned it before St. God's owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I
We're
saw.
all talking. We're all talking about people listening and watching are like, huh?
Who are these people? Don't listen to this podcast.
Just cut the last 10 minutes out.
Yeah, now we're just hanging out with our friends.
You're right. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. Oh, that was
Drive
cool.
your shit.
Drive it. Get cool wheels.
Take it
What
to go
else?
to go through the drive-through and get food.
Yeah.
Go to 7-Eleven. Yeah, whatever excuse you have to leave your house. Drive your
Also,
vehicle.
like the thing that one of the things that was always my favorite about driving a body drop mini truck or something that laid on the ground was just the look on people's face when they drive by you. Or
Oh, that wow factor. Like, you get people looking at you like, how's that even thing moving?
yeah,
Like
That's my
how are
favorite part.
how are you passing me on the fast track? Like we cruise. I don't know in the videos that myself or that Georgia posts. I don't know if you can like tell the speed, but we're going like 75, 85 in the freeway.
Oh, really?
And we're just
Oh, wow.
we're like flying by other people on the freeway, and people
That's
look
awesome.
they look at her and they look at me and they're like, how are we like in a
what's going
stock
on
car?
right now?
And they're like, we're just like flying by them. Like
That's awesome.
she's locked up and bouncing all over the freeway, and I'm over here bouncing all over the other way, like on the ground.
just like an inch off the ground.
Yeah, it's
That's
people just
awesome.
look at us like these people are crazy.
Well, if
Yeah.
you ever, even being mini truckers, if you ever have been like driving on the freeway and you could see something like a half a mile or a quarter mile ahead, and you're like,
Yeah,
that's a lower truck.
yeah,
And then you get up on it, and sometimes it's a lower truck, and sometimes it's just a weird car that looked like a lower truck. But
yeah.
Yeah.
just seeing that is inspirational in itself,
Yeah, for sure.
No, if I see someone on the road and they're modified, I'll just pull up next to them and just cruise with them for a little bit.
That's it.
And how long have you been doing mini truck stuff? You said
Since about when I bagged my truck, I wasn't even like in the scene.
That's what I
was-
want to know. How did you make the transition from like being in the military and tattooing into me trucking?
Okay, so as a kid, my dad's very first vehicle that he purchased, like from a car dealer, was a '86 Ford Ranger single cab.
hold on.
And it had like the
Is this you right here?
yeah. There you go.
How did you?
That's the truck. That's me.
How did he get that video?
Flanneled up? It's probably on Facebook or Instagram.
It's on Instagram. I went through his Instagram today.
Yeah.
Oh,
I tried to
that's
go.
He
funny.
bought that truck brand new from the lot in '85. It was the '86.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like how he had that just on deck too.
It's like this. Yeah.
I feel like who I feel like right now.
I feel like hair then. I don't have hair anymore.
I feel like Sean Evans from the Hot Ones.
Oh yeah. Or Nardwar. You just got Nardwar.
I don't know what that is.
oh, I don't know.
you don't
I don't
know?
know what that is.
Georgia knows what Nardwar is.
We just
With-
talked about this.
what
The
is-
other
I don't
day,
know
And
what-
I was like, "Do you know who Nardwar is?" And you were like, "No."
He's
And I was
like this-
He's a Canadian icon, bro.
Oh, that. Oh.
He's like
This
this.
serviette, and
Yeah.
you were like, "What?" You were shook. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no,
was the
yeah.
whole
So
thing.
anyway, so it's this guy, and he interviews like rappers and stuff, but he does deep dives on them.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, and he has this like really high pitched, like kind of funny voice, and he's like, "So tell me about when you and Billy were 12, and you guys went to Magic Mountain." And you're like, "What?
Like, how do you know
How
that?
do you know that?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to get into. Is I'm trying to find out some stuff to like pop on real quick. And be like,
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
tight. That was tight.
But yeah, no. So that was a truck that I grew up in, like in the back of that. So the truck had a camper kit where it had like the bench seats with the carpet and the floor turned the back into like a bed and had a shell. So we'd go everywhere, and my sister and myself would ride in the bed. So everywhere we went, we were like laying on the back, looking out the window. So it was
That's
cool, like being in a truck.
Yeah.
Until whatever laws were passed and you had to wear a seatbelt. So then my dad was forced to buy another car. He still had the truck up to like a few years ago, which he wouldn't sell to me because he knew I would lay it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
So
you
he-
laid because you got your daily off of him too, right?
My daily came
and you
from him.
and you lowered that.
Yeah,
so
but
he's
it's not
probably
bad.
like,
It's okay. It's not bad.
oh, he's okay with that because
He doesn't know I
bad.
notched
Oh.
it, but yeah.
I thought that was like he gave that to you and you did that and he's like, oh no, you're not getting the next one.
Yeah, no, he's like, no, this was before that.
Oh.
But no, so when I came to a point where I was like, oh, I want to have something for myself, then that's when I purchased a Tacoma, because at the time everyone had S10s or Mazdas, and I was like, oh, I want a Tacoma, and then I quickly learned why no one had Tacomas, because it was really hard to lay out a Tacoma. So that was probably around, I got the truck in 05, probably about 07-ish or something like that. I had it bagged. And then I think I went to my first Forbidden show, I think it was probably like 08. And I was by myself. Like one of my buddies that was into like the truck scene, he's like, oh, they have this show in Paris. You should go. And I was like, all right. I showed up. I was by myself. I parked in the grass with like a bunch of other like solo riders that were pulling in by themselves. And I mean, it was a wrap. At that point, I had 20s on it. It was the back laid out, the front was laid on the cross member, the wheel tubs, it still had wheel tubs in the front. And it was kind of a shock to see all these other trucks just laying completely flat.
Mm-hmm. And you're just
on
like,
the same size wheels. I was on 20s, yeah. And everybody was laying flat on the same size wheels. And I'm like, how does this even happen? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you do that? And it was, I had no idea about anything else that was involved with all that type of, like fab work to lay a truck out, let alone a Tacoma.
Mm-hmm. How'd you meet Steve?
I met Steve because when I met Steve, he was friends with Busta and Buddha.
Okay. And that's how I knew,
And
because
the
I
High
knew
Desert Boys, yeah, the Barstow Boys.
Okay.
And they were all friends. And they were, at the moment, they were members of said club that I was petitioning.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's how we met. and
So then
started-
when I met you, you were, that was sort of like the beginnings, like you getting into it then, right? Like around that time, because you said like
I was,
05.
it was like a year or so that I was kind of like already into it.
Okay.
So then I think that was around the time that I think the year before that was when I had gone to my first Forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I don't know, whatever year that was, maybe like
What year did
07
you
or
get out of
so.
the military?
In 04.
Okay, so that's the gap. So like I started in the scene in like 01 when I was like 18, but
Yeah.
you were already kind of like in the military doing that thing. So that's why
Yeah.
you kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, it's been like 20 something years now.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that like that's why I couldn't like pin it between like, because I thought you would have gotten it like at 18 or 19 like when I got in
Well,
it, but you were off doing the military
I
thing.
graduated high school in 2000 and I was 17. I turned 18 in boot camp. So I went straight to boot camp right out of high school. I think I had like a week off from when I graduated to when I left the boot camp. And then I was in the military until I was 21. I got out in 04.
And then that makes perfect sense because
Yeah.
then you got right into it. Okay.
Yeah. But when I was coming home, like I would come home for leave on for Christmas for like a week or two. And then I'd hang out with my buddies and they had mini trucks at the time. Mm-hmm. So they were in the scene at the time, but they had like they were in the transition of like the static tilt bed trucks
Oh, really?
and air shocks to where now they were getting outdated because now the guys were bagging the trucks and starting to like lay them out flat.
It's kind of funny because now, you went to the Forbidden show. That was your first kind of show. You didn't really know anyone.
Yeah.
And then you and Frank kind of got, you know what I mean? Like kind of got close and you interviewed him.
The
and
bromance began.
the bromance began.
It did.
And then now here we are. Like the guy that was throwing the Forbidden show is here.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Frank got in Forbidden. And then now you're in No Regrets.
Yeah.
And it's just like this.
It's a big circle.
It is the big circle. And I always think like No Regrets and Forbidden have this insanely
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
interwoven relationship
Yeah.
because obviously me and Ernie being in the club, and then like even Australia, our president in Australia is best friends with Jacko,
Yeah.
the president of Australia down there, and that's who I hung out with when I was in Australia. So
Yeah.
it's just this big interwoven thing between Forbidden, and we'll dive down that in a future episode.
Yeah, I think that'd be really
this.
cool to really get into the nuts and bolts of that whole thing, because I'm sure a lot of people do know, but it'll be good to kind of like walk our way through it.
Yeah, yeah, and just seeing, and like it makes
Yeah,
me
that's
super.
because like no regrets, forbidden. Yeah, no, I'm starting to
I
put
was-
together what you were saying 2 seconds ago.
yeah, because he's
Yeah.
talking about the Forbidden Show, and then that was, I was there being a part of that. You weren't. Frank wasn't a part of it yet.
yeah.
You were doing the vendor stuff, getting that stuff straightened
In
out.
a different club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all kind of brought everybody together.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking about because I was watching the other video, the Forbidden video, where you guys talk about like how the show started and where it came from, and it made me think like, oh, when was the first time I went to Forbidden, which was my first like big show, and to go show up to something not knowing anybody there, to now being here with a member from Forbidden that I met through a different avenue.
Yeah.
Talking to the president of Forbidden, who at the time I didn't know anybody, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it's crazy how it all comes
it's
together.
It's come together. This how long it's been to where we're sitting at now. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
is. It's really interesting.
I love
is.
it. I love that kind of stuff. You know, like
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Like, and the funny part too is like the Forbidden Fantasy show, and I didn't say this the other day, but was because of Ernie.
Oh,
So
really?
Ernie was in
Okay.
the club when we first had our first show. And me and him were driving by Fireworks Family Fun Park off the 60, where the 60 and the 215 meet right there. That shopping center, that's where Fireworks used to be. And I remember we were driving by, and Ernie goes, "That would be a cool place for a show." And then we had the show.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know
crazy.
that. That's awesome. That's really
Yeah, so
cool.
we'll dive down to the nuts and
Hell
bolts of
yeah.
that at later on. but
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's really cool. Well, yeah, that's awesome, man. So I don't know. I think we were kind of like winding down a little bit before, and then boom, we took off again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you got anything else for
You got any
our esteemed guests?
questions or concerns?
Dixon versus Pendleton.
Oh,
Is that even a question?
Yeah, I know. Come on. I said he was born and raised in Riverside, California.
I know.
Pendleton.
Pendleton.
The
Right
only the only woven milk
I'm gonna
shirt company.
I don't know if you're gonna do this, Frank. You know this thing, the notes.
I am.
So I'm gonna keep. I have like George's here, and then I have Jaime's here, and then the next one I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna keep these like a draw, and I'm gonna put them in like a filing thing.
Oh yeah, like
That's
a
cool.
journal kind of thing almost.
Yeah, like a journal of notes. So
Yeah.
I wish yeah.
No, that's a cool idea. Hey, the perfect time to start doing something like that is right now, and I'll start next episode when I don't bring my little folded
make
piece
a
of
note
paper.
of it for next time.
Yeah, that guilt tripped him into not bringing his little notebook.
I know. He bought me a notebook last weekend as a nice gift.
And where'd you leave it at?
Home.
Not here.
And I brought my folded up piece of paper, and then when we started the last episode, I'm all like, "Yeah, I brought my notes," and he's like, "Where's your notebook?"
I think it's all.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So right on. Well, cool. Well, I think that's it. Do you have anything to shout out, like social medias or?
No,
Nope.
no,
No.
Jaime
You know
Silva,
what?
no.
Jaime Silva, the wheel
I'm
guy.
NR.
the wheel guy.
I think it's NR_Jaime Inc.
Yep. Check him out.
Yeah, he'll have his new shop open soon called Hammerhead Tattoos.
Hammerhead tattoos. Shark Week specials.
Yeah, free brass knuckles for
Free
anyone.
brass knuckles. Yeah,
Thursdays after 5.
yeah. Those were actually real brass knuckles too.
Oh, they were.
yeah.
That's awesome. Right
They're
on.
illegal. Were they legal
They
on
were
the grill or
real-
illegal?
They were. Am I illegal? No, I'm legal.
No, not you.
They were illegal. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they weren't because they were. It was a
fixed.
It was a fixed ornament,
Yeah.
which I can easily take off. But anyways.
Well, thanks for checking out this week's episode. We still have our giveaway going on. Actually, I don't know by the time this episode airs because
I think we will, but we'll see. But
we'll
Anyway,
see.
it's a
If the current giveaway isn't happening right now, it doesn't matter. Go to our websites, livelifecustom.com and grinder-tv.com, because we always have a giveaway going on. So every $5 you guys spend on those sites, you get one entry into the drawing for whatever we're giving away at this current moment.
Brian's giving away his Enki LM1.
Yeah, so win some. Hey, there's our first set of wheels we're giving away. Well, right on. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Later.
Later.